Hey guys, here we are, another Monday Live. Had a spectacular weekend, and I'm gonna make Amina explain some of the things we did. I went to church on Sunday. It was a great day, great sermon, and we did go to the wine festival. And I will make Amina explain what it was like. It was crazy, and we did at least 50 selfies and things. People were coming over from all over the place. But I'll let Amina explain it.
It was a lot of fun. Welcome back, everybody, to another Monday Live with Sammy. Just wanted to, before we get into all of what we did over the weekend, I want to let everybody know that we are going to get another bull plaque orders in this week. So if you've ordered them and they have not reached you yet, it's because they haven't gone out. Please be patient. They're custom orders and they will be going out at the end of the week. So that's that. Celebrity Wine Festival. We had an amazing time. It was a lot of fun. A lot of filet mignon and nice desserts from the resort and the casino out there. So
yeah, when you came in, they gave you a glass so that you could walk to different booths and taste their wine or whiskey or whatever they were selling. It was good. And some places it was at a restaurant, I don't remember the name, and they had some filet mignon with a little bit of potatoes and some sort of a carrot or something in it. It was delicious. Best steak I ever ate in my life. I'm sorry I didn't take the name of the restaurant, but really great stuff. But it was a fun time. We went out, the place was packed, and it was really, really good.
Sterling and I are working on getting you guys birthday cards after long-awaited requests. So soon enough, there will be birthday cards available for you guys. And yeah, I hope you guys like them. Kenneth Sponberg said, Sammy, did you have a weapon of choice that you used for hits? Also, what was your everyday carry weapon?
My everyday carry weapon was like a .38, and I did have a .357 Magnum. Had a few guns, different guns. I didn't like an automatic because it jammed on me one time, and I always liked a revolver that never jams, and I'm more comfortable with it. So that's really, but I don't really have a gun of choice.
April wanted to ask, she said, I wanted to know if you ever met Anthony Trentacosta, known as Tony Pep, back in your Cosa Nostra days with the Gambino family. Trentacosta was a New York capo regime in the Gambino family and was transferred to South Florida by the family after the death of Anthony Ruggiano, Fat Andy, to take over Ruggiano's crew in 1999.
I knew him well. And when he went to Florida, I'll tell you a little story. He went to Florida and he got arrested over there, and he was going to take a plea. He told John. John at that time was telling everybody, you can't take a plea. He wound up taking the plea anyway. He didn't give a shit what John said. And he took a plea. He never got in trouble for it. I thought he was going to wind up getting killed because of it, but he really didn't. He was a great guy, good guy. I knew him well. I never saw him when he went to Florida, but he was a good guy.
I'm sorry, I was just reading the chat. Sterling, you're so funny. And it was kind of sweet too. Sterling Cooper says, can we get signed pictures of Amina? Sorry, Sammy.
Signed pictures of Amina? I'm going to make them real expensive. But yes, of course, you probably could.
Okay, Nick wanted to ask, do the Gambinos have their own table at RAO'S, or do they go through the Lucchese's? Did you ever eat there? And if so, who did you call or who called you?
I don't think we had a table. I'm not sure. I never went there. I thought it was, everybody wanted to show off, like they had a connection to go there and eat and sat at the table, and that wasn't my shtick. I didn't do that. So I really never went there. I could have went anytime I wanted. Other people had tables there. I'm sure if I didn't even need a table. If I would have called them up and says, I'm going to come down, give me a table, they would have gave it to me in a minute. But I just didn't want that. That's what everybody was doing. A lot of wise guys were going down there to eat, showing off that they got their own table, their own reservations. They don't have to wait online. I really didn't like the idea of the whole thing. It was great food, by the way. Let me tell you that. I did eat at RAO'S in California one time when I was at California in some meetings, and we did have a meeting in RAO'S in California. I ate at that RAO'S. The food is great, but I didn't like that bullshit in New York that you needed, to own your own table, or who gives a shit? So I didn't do it in New York, but I did eat in the RAO'S in California.
The next question is from Redman. This one's actually for Gerard. Gerard, last week I asked Sammy if you would have ended up in the life if he didn't cooperate. Given how you were in the streets of Arizona, your mentality in the mid-90s, if your father didn't cooperate and you guys were still back in New York, do you think you would have ended up in that life with your father? In my opinion, with your mentality back then, I think you would have ended up in that life.
Well, if he was in the streets and not in prison, no, I probably wouldn't have ended up in that life. But if he would have went to jail for the rest of his life, I think it would have been a little bit harder for him to stop me. And I believe if that was the case, then yes, I would have wound up in the life. Hope that answers your question.
Sounds good. Alrighty.
It makes a lot of sense because I can't shoot you from prison, so I didn't want him to be in the life, Red Man. I really didn't want my kids in the life. If you're in the life and you see what it's like and what you're going to go through, you don't want your kid to go through the life. It was the same thing in The Godfather. They did a movie and the guy, his son was going to go into the life, and he says, I never wanted this for you. And there was reasons why he said that in The Godfather. And they're true reasons.
I've heard you say over and over again is that you never wanted that for your kids at all. So, okay. Brian wanted to know, did you ever hesitate on an order? Or did you just go along with the order no matter what without questioning or hesitating?
I always went along with an order. There was one time I was asked by Nicky Russo to kill somebody that we killed, to kill the guy's son. The guy's son was 12 years old. I refused that order. Paul Castellano called me in and asked me, you don't even know this kid. Why would you refuse an order? I says, I just can't kill a 12-year-old kid. I won't do it. He said, if I gave you the order, would you refuse? I said, Paul, no disrespect. Yes. And if I had to get killed for it, I just can't kill a 12-year-old kid. And he smiled and he said, Nicky Russo asked me, I already refused him. I'm glad you feel that way. So I never really refused an order. An order came in, people broke the rules. That's the rules when you take the oath. You break rules, you die. Now, I'm not getting you killed. You killed yourself. That's the way I feel. You broke the rules. You knew about it. You brought this on yourself. When I cooperated, I figured I would get killed because I broke rules. But luckily, I didn't get killed.
I've got a question from Sharky on TikTok. What was your exercise routine in prison?
I played a lot of handball, racquetball, and I did push-ups, sit-ups. Very rare that I work out with weights. I did for a while, but after a while, they took the weights away because they were afraid that you were going to hit somebody with the dumbbell or somebody and kill somebody. So they took the heavy weights away. So I wasn't working out with heavy weights, but I would do sit-ups, push-ups, pull-ups, stuff like that. But I played a lot of ball, handball, racquetball. Once in a blue moon, I played basketball, but I'm too short for basketball. I didn't even come up to their knees, so basketball wasn't my thing.
I have Andy on Instagram. What was the nicest thing that somebody ever did for you when you were a mobster?
The nicest thing anybody ever did for me. I mean, a lot of people did nice things. My crew especially, they were so loyal, it was crazy. I know I bought a new house that needed a lot of work. The doorbell rang. Stymie was there with his work clothes to come in and help. I mean, people did a lot of people, a lot of different people did a lot of nice things. Even some women who I knew, they weren't my girlfriends or they were just friends. They would come down, and, you know, a lot of times women would come down if they had a problem, somebody was bothering them, and I helped them out a little bit. That's how I got to know Tony Ann, and she was going out with a wise guy who was really treating her bad. I went and talked for her, and he didn't want to seem to hear anything. So I grabbed Tony Ann, I gave her a job at Tally's, and I said, listen, next time he comes to you, tell him that me and you are dating, that you're my girlfriend. Now I have a reason. If he breaks your balls, I have a reason. It's not true, but just tell him that. I'm sure he won't bother you no more.
I have Weisenheimer on TikTok who would like to know if the rumor that DeMeo's Dracula performed Italian black magic. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I never heard of that.
Ask Sammy if Palm Beach Pete is Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, I have no idea. I have no idea. You know, I think I saw something like that. Yeah, I saw something like that on Instagram or something.
Yeah, he says his name is Palm Beach Pete.
Yeah, I saw it. He does look like Jeffrey Epstein, but I don't think he is. He's not.
Question from Instagram from T. Cassie. When you were involved with construction in the 80s, have you ever been with non-union outfits? And if so, what is your opinion between union and non-union outfits?
Well, I did. Matter of fact, my drywall company was non-union. Here's the difference. A union guy is making about $30 an hour. A non-union guy is making about $18 an hour. The difference is the union takes benefits and all kinds of stuff and raises the price. And non-union, the guy's getting the money direct and there's no union money, so it's a lot cheaper. And I had connections with some unions that I was able to get away with it. So in my drywall company, Louis DeBona was a union company. He would bid and get the job, and I would go in with my guys and do a good part of the work. So the difference is money. From $30 an hour to $18 an hour, it's a tremendous difference.
I know we get this one quite a bit, but DMB fan 1218 on Instagram would like to know, what is your favorite Italian dish right now?
I still love lasagna and raviolis and stuff like that. I'm a pasta guy. I eat pasta just about with everything. So I really like pasta.
Kelly Hatch on TikTok says that Scottsdale has a lot of ex-Mafia. I once dated a guy that guys kissed his ring. Did guys ever kiss your ring?
And no, nobody kissed my ring. I didn't allow that to happen. It's a nice diamond ring, as you can see. He's able to bite it off. No, nobody kisses my ring.
Fortiz on TikTok. Have you ever seen one of your enemies after you left the life, and what was that interaction like?
You know, I've never really seen an out-and-out enemy. I saw people who cooperated, bumped into them. Sometimes on purpose I met with them. I knew who they were and they got in touch with me and I met with them. A real enemy, I don't believe I ever met up with one of them, and we probably would have went to blows. I don't know if it's my real enemy. I really don't like him a lot. It wouldn't have been a comfortable meeting for him, and maybe for me. So I don't know.
I have a question on Instagram. What cologne did you and John Gotti wear?
I don't know what John Gotti wore. I wore different colognes. I'm working on a cologne now for myself. I picked out some colognes and some perfumes for women. We didn't put it together yet. We're working on it. My son is working on it. So someday, I guess, it'll come out and it'll be the cologne that I like and I prefer. I already picked what kind of bottle and stuff like that. I just didn't pick the cologne.
Brian777 on TikTok would like to know, what were your conversations about generally when doing walk talks, and how steady was the income to Gotti and the family?
Well, the income to Gotti and the family was pretty steady. Walk talks is when you're talking about criminal stuff. Now, we knew that the FBI had these cameras, or like a football game. you'll see that it's somebody with a big camera far away. They're talking about what play to make. You could hear them talk. So we always felt if they could hear that far back in a football game, they could hear us talk. So we were very careful when we went on a walk talk. And if you'll notice, a lot of times when we're walking on a walk talk, we cover our mouth like this. I don't know if you could hear it now. It makes it harder for you to hear what I'm saying because my voice is bouncing off my hand. I know it would be almost impossible if a camera was, a recording machine was far away. It really makes it hard to hear. So we were always cautious about things like that. I know I was.
Let's jump into your super chats. I have JB Weld. How many guys were good earners on your crew versus non-earners? And who was the highest and lowest earners in the crew?
You know, I really never looked at that. I looked at their loyalty. When they were asked to do a piece of work, they were there. Some of those guys weren't good earners, but I never pushed them on the side because of a good earner. Some of them were obviously better earners, but I treated them all the same. You know, a guy could be a great earner and can't really be somebody who does a piece of work. And somebody who does a piece of work, who's putting his life on the line, is just as important, if not more important, than a guy who's a big earner. So loyalty is everything, and my crew was loyal. If you weren't loyal to me, whether it's earning or doing work, you were gone. I didn't want you in my crew.
Okay, next question. I think it's from Daram. They say, Bull, much respect, love the content. You're a true triple OG. Outside of what Paul did to you and your family and outside of Gotti's reason, what type of things was Paul doing to get hit?
Well, he did a lot of things. One of the things is that a captain of ours in Connecticut, I don't remember his name. A lot of you guys will know his name. But Chin had put in a beef that he was a pain in the ass and hard to deal with. And instead of Paul saying, I'll take care of it, I'll talk to him, he told Chin, if you want to get rid of him, do what you got to do. And Chin killed him. That is a real no-no in our family. You're the father of the family. You don't give up one of your people all that easy, number one. Number two, nobody kills our people. If they did something wrong, we killed them. So that's two mistakes. Three, he was banging his maid. You know, you could bang broads all you want. A gumata, you could have whatever you want. Nobody cares. But banging your maid, keeping him in the house, the maid is now refusing to listen to his wife. Don't do that right in your house. It's not respectful to the wife, the woman, the family. And when we get made, remember, his wife is like, if he's the boss, then his wife would be my mother. I gotta look at her as my mother. His daughter is like my daughter. His son is like my son. Now, when you're doing that, these are my family too. We're both friends of ours. We're both made guys. You may be above me, but we're the same. You want to bang a broad, he's got a ton of money. Go get some beautiful broad, buy her a house in Jersey, do whatever you want. But to bring it right in your own house, and in the garage, he had a 6 or 8 car garage. One of the cars in the garage was a Cadillac truck or something like that, and that was hers, the maid's. And I remember his wife asking her to do something. She says, I'm busy right now, do it yourself. I mean, that alone shocked people. It shocked me. When I went there, I would go a lot of times when my son was very young, a kid. She would grab him like a grandmother would grab him, put him on a stool. Gerard, what kind of cookies you want? Cookies, milk. That's like my mom or grandmother, whatever you want to call her. Don't treat her like that. So you could do what you want outside of that. So those were things that really turned people off. And he was really more enthused with people who were earners. He gave them more of an audience than guys who were doing work. And that's another no-no. So there's a few things that Paul did, And when I talked with Frankie DeChico about doing this hit, he said, Sammy, I think we save John and his whole crew, and we bring Cosa Nostra back to what it's supposed to be. And I agreed with Frankie DeChico. At first, I didn't agree. I wasn't a long-time friend with John. I didn't grow up with him. I didn't do what he did, drugs, and he got caught and stuff. I didn't really want to do it. But when Frankie said, let's do it, we'll save this crew, Paul broke a lot of rules. I think it's time to bring Cosa Nostra back to what it is. So that's what it meant to me. What he did to my family personally, I didn't like, but I didn't want it to be about revenge for me. But I bought all the rest of the stuff. And I agreed. I shook Frankie DeChico's hand, not John's, Frankie DeChico's hand. And then we both agreed to take Paul out.
Did you ever regret leaving the Colombo family?
No. Listen, the Colombo family was, I loved Shorty Spiro. A lot of guys in there I liked a lot. They were very dangerous. Carmine Persico was, everything with him was beat up this guy, shoot this guy, kill this person. It was a war that they were in. It was nonstop violence. That's what I learned from them. When I finally got transferred over to the Gambino family, it was about respect, loyalty, about using violence when we need to, as a last resort, not a first resort all the time. You know, you can get really mad at somebody. Me, if I really get mad, I want to punch you right in the face. I don't want to kill you. And if I beat you up and you fall on the floor, I really don't want to start stomping on your face or kicking you in the balls. I don't want to maim you. The fight's over. I won. So the Colombo family was super violent. And Carmine Persico, there was all kinds of things going on. Greg Scott was almost known that it was an informant, and nothing is done to him. And you got such a violent family. I don't know why nothing was done to him. Would you pick out people that he's a good earner, and even though he's an informant, and you know it, the cameras. So, no, I was pretty happy. I wasn't when I was first being transferred, but once I got transferred and I got used to them, Tato was a pleasure to be with. In a short period of time, I almost felt like he was my father. Always gave me good advice, always tried to help me, help my family. A great, great guy. So I was real comfortable in the Gambino family.
Anubis. Sammy, when Gus, is it Scliffani, was killed?
Scliffani. Yeah, his name isn't Scliffani, but I know who you're talking about when he got killed.
Well, he said, was he a made man or an associate?
No, he was neither. Was this a muscle-bound guy who got out of prison and he was a hefomaniac? He killed a DEA agent in a drug deal, and that's one of the reasons he got killed. If we're talking about the same guy. He was a big guy, muscle-bound guy, he was abusive to everybody. I remember my father-in-law, mother-in-law owned a little restaurant, little bullshit coffee house. And he came in and he was talking to my sister-in-law, and he was asking about my wife. And she says, oh, you better not bother with her. She's married to Sammy, the bull. And he says, I don't give a fuck about him. You know, he wanted to meet my wife. Listen, I don't mind somebody liking my wife or, lusting for her a little bit. That's fairly normal. But when you disregard who I am or not, you don't give a fuck. Now, I think this is the same guy who got killed. I have nothing to do with killing him, but I wish I would have caught him, and he just... Faraci. Gus Faraci. Yeah, that's the guy, Faraci, not the way she spelled it out. But Faraci, that's the same guy. And the Bonanno family had him. Now, the Bonanno family, after he killed the agent, were hiding him. One of the brothers there put him in his daughter's house to hide. And he starts screwing the daughter. He's screwing the guy's daughter. He was an animal. No respect for nobody or nothing. So it was a combination of the Bonanno family and other people who wound up taking him out. He broke a lot of rules, of our rules.
VM Bro, Ralph Spiro and his son Tommy were some POS. Was Shorty the same? What ended up happening to Tommy Jr.? And I know Papa killed Ralph and Shorty. Thanks.
Yes, Papa killed Ralph Spiro later on. That's the guy, that's why I got transferred. I was going to kill Ralph Spiro. I went to his house with a gun. His wife spotted the gun behind my back, and she got in touch with Shorty, and I got in trouble for going there to kill him. Shorty was totally different, great guy. He wound up getting killed by Papa as well. And I found out way after I went to prison, and I knew he was gone, so I knew he was dead. But I found out who killed him and all of that stuff. So Papa had killed him. But Shorty was a great guy. I loved him. I was with him. And I did work for him. We used to play cards in the basement at night with his family. We used to play pinochle all night long. I really liked him a lot.